Hey guys, welcome back to Sockets and Sideburns. Today we have Sally the Scenic in for a fuel filter change. Now this is a Scenic 3 2012 with the 1.5 DCI K9K engine in her. Now this procedure is very similar on a few Renault models from this era, the Meganes and Grand Scenics with the 1.5 DCI engine fitted in them as well. Now I could not find a service interval in any of Renault's literature for this fuel filter. However, the new one we have says 60,000 kilometers, which is around 37,000 miles. I will leave links to parts and tools that I use in this video in the video description. A couple of safety warnings before we start. Obviously, working around fuel systems, no smoking and no naked flames, and please dispose of any old diesel that drains out properly as well. And as always, guys, gloves and glasses. Right, let's take a look. Right, so we've got the bonnet popped. And on these, the fuel filter is living just there under past the screen wash bottleneck. You can see the rusty screw, that's the fuel heater screw there. That's where the fuel filter is living on these. And the access for this is through the driver's wheel arch. So I'll get the car jacked up and that wheel off. So handbrake on, chuck the rear wheels, and we'll crack our wheel bolts off a quarter turn. These wheel bolts are 17 mils. And now we'll jack it up and support the weight of the car with an axle stand. And with the weight of the car on the stand, what I like to do for a little bit of added safety is I'll just bring the jack almost back into contact with the jacking point, just for an added safety there. But the weight of the car is on the axle stand. And whip this wheel off now. And with any job that I'm doing while I'll be draining fluids, I will bung a bit of cardboard under the car to try and help save the floor, as well as we're going to need some kind of drain pan for the diesel that will drain out of the filter and the pipes when we take it off. Right, now we need to take the wheel arch liner off. We only need to take off this front section here. There's a brake in it so that we can just take off the front section. It's held on by, we've got 2 bolts in this case. You might find that these are going to be like T20 or T25 screws. In my case, they're bolts. Got 1 there and 1 there, as well as 5, I believe, trim clips, these big round ones. We've got 1 here and 1 here up at the top, 1 quite well hidden there, and another down there at the bottom. And then there at the top, they do sort of blend in as the years go on, but there are 5, I believe. Okay, we'll get the 2 bolts out first. In my case, these are 7 mil. I usually like to use a screwdriver on bolts like this, just because they so easily snap sometimes. There's the other one there. Then we'll start popping out the trim clips. We've got 3 up at the top here to start with and 2 more down at the bottom. This job is made much easier and less chance of breaking them if you use a trim tool. And then these 2 on the inner part. This one is almost blended in. Okay, now we can pull the front section of the wheel arch liner out. We'll just get it out from behind the wing. and it should just drop down. There is going to be, depending how long since it's been off, a lot of mud. And now we can see the prize, the fuel filter, living in its cradle here, just behind the screen wash bottle. Right, the first thing we can do is get the electrical plug for the diesel heater off. You may find this is easier once we open it up and get it out the cradle, but I can easily get my hands in here. There's just a little tab on the top to push in, and then you can pull the plug off, just like that. Right, next up, to open the cradle up, we've got a 10mm nut hidden behind the wiring for the heater plug there on this one. We need to slacken that off, and then this cradle cage will swing open. And with that done, this will just swing open just like that. Right, so these pipe connectors should be color coded, as should the new filter be, to show you which pipes are going to go where. But basically you've got green at the back here on your left as you're looking into the car. That's feeding from the tank into the filter, and the white pipe is feeding from the filter to the engine. So green is in on the filter and white is the output. So what we're going to do to make access a little bit easier to these pipes is we're just going to pull the filter out and away a little bit. There's not a whole lot of slack. You can get a little bit more on that from where you had it, just to give yourself a bit more room. So with these pipe connectors, what you've got to do is you're going to push in this coloured part of the clip, whether it's the green or the white part. That will push it in with a screwdriver, and then you're going to take the actual pipe up and off of the filter stub. You may find, if they've been on there for a very long time, you may find that just pressing that in and pushing up in here isn't enough. You might have to get under here with a trim tool as well as you press in the button as well. But this one's coming fine, and as I said, be prepared for diesel spillage, because there is going to be some. Once you pass that lip, that'll come and stay. Pass the little lip on the stub. Get the other one as well ready. And once they're past that part there, you should be able to pull them off just by hand. And it should just drop out and away, and as I said, you will get your spillage. Shouldn't be too much, and then just wrestle that out of the cradle. Right, now we can take the filter over to the bench and get the new one on part swapped over. Right, so over at the bench, got the old filter. First thing to do is going to be take off the drain plug down on the bottom there. That'll just help us neatly drain out the diesel in this filter. Obviously, you're going to want to have your catch pan ready to grab all of this. And keep that handy. You're going to need it to swap onto the new one. And I'm just catching a little of that diesel as well in a clean spray can cap here, just for lubricating the new O-rings. We'll get to that in a second, just so it's away from this mucky diesel that's in here with all the junk that's come off the mud guard in it. Right, while that carries on draining out, we can take off the diesel heater. Now we got two T25s on here to undo. They could well be quite rusted in place, so It might take a bit more persuasion than you'd think, especially with a diesel covered glove. No, that's not going to go with a screwdriver. I'll have to get a ratchet and a bit. Right, screwdriver no, ratchet no. Let's try a bit of impact. Make sure we got it all the way in. Right, that's one. That's not the one that this one had started to round. This is the one that we're very concerned about now. So let's get that in there with a hammer as well. Those hammer blows should potentially help shock it loose as well. That is the idea, at least. There we go. Always pays to be patient with stuff like this. Your day can go from great to awful in just a split second there. And then we can take the heater out. Again, it's probably going to be quite stiff. This one is overdue on its change. Just give it a little wiggle. And just be working it back and forward. Okay, that's moving freely. Left and right. Absolutely does not want to come up and at 'em. I don't think I wouldn't be too tempted to pry under there too much, because obviously it could quite easily break. It's just plastic. Although it does look like somebody's been prying in here before. Hold on a second. It is coming up. It doesn't much look like it, but it is moving up. Once it goes, it's probably going to come flying off, I expect. Cool. No, there's not much room under there, and as I say, I wouldn't want to pry too much. Get this out the way. diesel's just making it a bit slippery, but my goodness, that is well and truly stuck in there. It's definitely coming, but it's not coming quick. That is honestly ridiculous. How well wedged in there. Here we go. There we are. Again, patience. I do not actually recommend. It looks like somebody has already had a go, or either that or they're actually facilitating this a little with a slot there for you to get a screwdriver in. But if you're going to do that like I did, be extremely careful. If you break either of these inserts off, look, somebody has, oh no, that's meant to be there, that's deliberate, that's too clean to be a break. But if you break either of these ears off, you'll be in serious trouble having to get a new one of these from Renault, I assume. Right, we can get rid of that old filter now. We've retrieved everything from it. Didn't exactly want to give it to us easily though, did she? Right, clear these bits away and get our new filter. Just give this a quick clean up so that we don't bring more dirt and contamination over. That was impressively tight on there. Hopefully yours won't be as bad as that, but if it is, just take heart in knowing that eventually it is going to come off. Just be patient with it, keep wiggling it, keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't get angry with it, don't force it, because it will just make your day worse. It will come eventually. Okay, right, that's clean-ish. Do a proper clean once we swap the seals over. And our drain, just trying to get rid of all of this slippery diesel. Right, let's grab our new one. Right, grab our new filter. I've gone for a Bosch, part number N2067. Now this one comes with the filter itself and a little O-ring kit. There's 4 O-rings in there. You're going to want to swap the O-rings over on these. You don't want to reuse the old ones if you can help it. And some may not come with the new O-rings, but this Bosch one definitely does. I'll leave a link to this one in the description. And it also comes with a little set of instructions as well, which will tell you where to fit each O-ring, because they are all different sizes on these. So these instructions tell you which ones to fit where, which is handy for if you get confused or you can't really line up the old ones with the new ones. All right, so we can start swapping the old bits that have come off the old filter onto the new filter. So I'll get these seals out of their packet. As I said, you're going to want 4. 3 are on the heater and the other one is for the drain plug. So we'll start with the drain plug. We'll just get the old O-ring off. Just be careful when you do it. You can use a screwdriver. I'm using a proper O-ring pick, but you can use a screwdriver or a pick. Just be careful not to damage the seal seat as you do it. Take that off. And then with a clean bit of towel or rag, just clean all in that seat. This will be the same basic procedure for all of the O-rings that we're going to fit, so I'm not going to go over each one, but that's what you want to do. Just clean out the seat, make sure there's no damage in there. Damage means leaks. Dirt or anything in the way means leaks. Right, that's all clean in there. And the instructions are telling us that we need the small red gasket for this, and as I said, just give them a slight lubrication in some clean diesel and then fit them on. You don't want to fit them dry. Fit them on with a little diesel on them. That's what's going to be in the filter, and it's oily. That's what you can use to lubricate these. And then if we pull our bung off the bottom of this, and then we're going to fit the drain into the new filter. And just hand tight will be fine. Just bottom it out just by hand. That's fine. Now we're going to swap the seals on the heater over. Now there are 3 on here. Again, just be careful and lubricate with a little diesel. Okay, so the instructions say for this, you've got the large red one at the top there, large black one there, middle, and the smaller black one at the end there. All right, and we can put this into the filter, just pop our cap off like that. And then with this, you can, I suppose, get it backwards, but obviously the green marker on the filter will be pointing essentially towards the rear of the car, and the socket plug has got to plug in from the side there. So if we take it, it should be like that. And it might need a wiggle in, perhaps a bit more diesel on that seal, and perhaps a little just all around the inside of there as well. There we go. Make sure it's bottomed all the way out, and then have a quick look all around that edge. Make sure none of your seal has actually bulged out there. And again, on the car, the green marker where the diesel's feeding in will be towards the boot, the rear. The white will be at the front, and you need the plug pointing out like that. So that's the correct orientation. Line up with your bolt holes, line the inserts up, and get the screws back in. We'll do one up and get it started. And get the other one in as well. No need to go crazy with these. Just tight down with a screwdriver, be plenty. Right, with those screws in there snug, drain on snugly as well, we can get this back on the car. Right, we'll get our pipes back on first, white to white, green to green. Take your little protective caps off the filter first. And these pipes just push back on. They're a push fit connector, and you want to push them until they click back in, but there is not a lot of room in here to do anything. on these Scenics anyway. So it could be quite fun to try and get it to do that. So I've come from the top with the green one, and I'm pushing down through the wing here, down on the green one to get that one on, because there is really no room for your fingers in here. So I've brought my right arm through the top here, holding the filter. There's just enough room to hug the wing like this, and you heard that nice snap there, just so you can be confident you've got that. So that was the white one on at the front, and now if we just do the same thing again with the green, so we'll get it lined up and on. Onto the stub in the first place. There we go, and then again, we'll try and reach down from the top, support that pipe, and push the filter up into it. There we go, you heard that snap again, and we can give both these pipes a good push down and a pull up, make sure that we've got them securely fastened on there. That's really the best way that I can think of for getting that done. Right, with those on there, you can fit your plug back on now as well if you'd like. Make sure again, just push it on and you hear a nice engaging click. Make sure that plug for the diesel heater's on there. And then we're just going to make sure this is sat in the cradle right. There's a lip all around the cradle, and that's where the lip on the fuel filter should sit. It can't really go anywhere else. And then we can close the cage back up. Make sure that you get the wiring from around that. It is very close to it though. Get that over the stud, and then we'll fit our nut back on. Refit that 10mm nut and just give it a pinch up with a 3/8. Just a pinch, nothing crazy. Right, get our wheel arch liner back in place now. They can be a little bit fiddly. Just take your time. Get it started around the wing. And we'll start getting the clips back in first. That's 2. 3. These just push back in. 4. And 5 at the top. And then in our case, our 2 7mm as well. Get both started. Tight. And tight. Fit the wheel back on, clear everything out from underneath, all your cardboard, drain pans, etc. All right, wheel back on, 5/17mm. Just give them a pinch up with a 1/2 inch and we'll torque them back down when the wheel is on the ground. All right, jack her back up, get the axle stand out and let her down now. Final check, we're all clear, we are. Get that on the jacking point. Let's have her down. And now we can torque these wheel bolts up. Torque for these, 110 Nm on these. Okay. Right, so with everything fitted back on now, we need to prime the fuel system to get the air back out and fuel into the pipes. So we have a priming bulb on these Scenics. Now on some cars, these pipes that lead down to the rail here, this pipe is going to be clear, so you'll easily be able to see the fuel going in. In our case, it's black, so we're not going to be able to see, so we're just going to have to start to feel for it. This is going to take a while. You're going to have to squeeze this quite a few times in order to get this to go. And then once you've done it for a while, we'll have a go at firing her up and see if it starts. If it doesn't start, then more priming will be required. Keep going until you start to get a firm feel in the bulb. Right, we'll have a go at starting her up now. Put that back into the clips and we'll try and start her up. There we go. Now it's going to be a bit lumpy and struggle for a minute. It might even stall out just like that. We'll give it a few more. Now that priming bulb's much stiffer now. You can hear, there we go, it's getting real stiff now. Right, we'll have another go at starting her up. Okay, we'll give it another try and we'll try and give it a little bit of revs, not too much, but just a little bit of revs to try and keep her going. Just to help that air work its way through. And we'll just have her at a fast idle for a minute or two, about 1500, 2000 RPM. Just to help that air work its way out of the system. Now, just while we're fast idling it, have a look down from the top, at the top of your fuel filter. Make sure you've not got any leaks starting to appear on the top there. They'll pool on the top of it. That's where you're going to have leaks from the pipes. Just make sure there's no diesel accumulating there. And of course, that there's no diesel dripping down from the drain plug there. That's just left over from earlier. That's not dripping down now. Just make sure you haven't got any leaks. Run it at fast idle for just a couple of minutes. Just make sure you got all the fuel in. And then if you let it go back to idle, and now she should idle just fine. Perfect. Right, drop the bonnet, and that's the job all done. Okay then guys, if you've enjoyed this video or it's helped you out at all, then don't forget to hit that like button for me. If you'd like to see more videos from the channel in the future, then please subscribe, and you can find me over on Instagram at SocketsAndSideburns. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you in the next video.